Today we're taking a look at Roger found mud fossils at Newton University. Well, it's his computer screen. But he comes up with these theories where he sees animals and stones and stuff. And today he's gone a little off the planet.
It is serious, but all I can do is present it in a humorous way because it's so serious you can only take it humorously. This, I'm going to tell you right now, that's biology, and that is the dark side of our moon. Now get ready and all of the moons that I can find have this same characteristic. And I'll show you what I think it is and why I say it is biology. And then we will go from there. And then we're going to get into the ancient texts that talked about these things in a most insane way, but there appears to be some substance to it. So I say that is biological. Now I'm going to show you the evidence.
Look at him, he's heading for that small moon.
I think I can get him before he gets there. He's almost in range.
That's no moon.
Okay, like I say, this is a shocker. This is a tendon enthesis, and that means it's an anchor. It goes into your bone or wherever it goes into and locks in. And then there's a strap. This strap is like a tendon, and it runs to a muscle or whatever, and the muscle does all the work, and the tendon just gives it just a little bit of spring. And that's what these are, but they have to be anchored somehow, and that's what anchors them. And they have all these little wrinkly things all over the surface of it. And I believe this is where they're showing the vein and the artery coming down to service the ball. Now, that's a moon, and I believe that's Tethys or Mimas, or it could be just about any of them. They all have the same thing. All of them that I can find. And even Iapetus has what's called an equatorial ridge. I'll show you that. And I've found tendon balls, and like I call them tendon balls. And these balls are everywhere on the Earth.
Just because something looks like something does not mean it's that. It's like the difference between a shark and a dolphin. They're completely different creatures. One lays eggs, one has live birth. They're not the same type of creature. This is Iapetus. You can see that ridge. They figure that the ridge could have been happened by a number of things. Like, well, it could have had a ring system around it and it collided with the ring system early in its creation, or the moon could have been spinning so fast that it pushed the material out, or could have been currents underneath that pushed the material out.
I mean, they're everywhere, and they can be absolutely gigantic, and as you can see, they can be moons too. And that's that little...
Or they could just be moons and nothing else.
All right, this just gives you a little more understanding of the layers of tissue. You see, they're even showing it blue. But when that snapped off, this little piece came off here. This is just the growing phase of it. And you can see there's different layers of tissue. Exactly what you see when you look at these craters. There's different layers of tissue. And this one here is the goopy one. It's like your skin. This one, and then below that you have your fleshy stuff, and then
this is what is called a false color image. Spacecraft often have instruments on them that measure things in wavelengths that we can't see, so scientists represent them in different... I don't know what crater on the moon this is supposed to be. Maybe it's Shockley at the South Pole, but so these colors could represent anything, different chemical compositions, different heights, but that's all they represent. There is no soft, mushy underneath of the moon.
Now, basically, all the moons are considered deities in the ancient times, and in Greek mythology, Iapetus was a Titan deity of mortality. He was the son of the primordial deities Gaia and Uranus, all right, which is the earth and the sky, who helped restrain Uranus and thus become the west pillar that held up the sky. Later he was banished to Tartarus for fighting against the gods and became a bearer of the entire cosmos. So that's Iapetus. Now
they were named after the deities. They weren't meant to be the deities. A lot of these moons weren't discovered until like the 1600s. Uranus's moons are all named after Shakespeare characters. So do we think they're all real? Nope. Okay, next.
All right, that's Iapetus, and that's the equatorial ridge around it. and it's got one of these big spots here. There's another one here. I found these tendon balls with two entries just like that and single entries. All right, this is the one I talked about just a second ago, Tethys. You see, I'm sorry, this is Iapetus, but it's just another moon, and it's got the anchor spot either there or there. I'm not sure which, but they all have that same little spot like this. Now, why do we see different colors here? What's that about? Different substances in different molecules and different layers of tissue have different chemistry. And the red is more of a fleshy chemistry. Blue is a substrate, it appears. And I don't know, but there is chemistry that goes along with this, because these are all transition metal colors, you see? And transition metals will stabilize something, and that's why I find them in the mud fossils all the time, the transition metals.
Transition metals could be anything, but this is a better look at the chart he's looking at. It has nothing to do with the blood. This is what hemoglobin looks like. It's a long protein inside the blood cell with iron. So it does have iron in there, but one doesn't have anything to do with it.
Accumulated into certain areas, just like this. Now, what is that spot and what's that spot? Why are they there? And why is this red thing so round and perfect and all this? And look at how this gets all scruffy looking around the outside, and it's nice and smooth here.
This is just an impact crater. Large impact craters in the middle, they'll create a well, or not a well, but like a mountain or a mesa of stuff that will come up through the middle. Also, you can't tell what something is just by the color of the image. You need to know what the spectroscopy was from the instrument. So just speculating what anything is just by a picture is kind of silly.
See how it's nice and smooth? And then it drops down from there, down another layer. And then it sort of blends into what I would call the entire substrate is in the blue. But above that is these layers of tissue, because this is biology. All these little craters and all that, I'm sure there's a ton of craters that are from impacts, but they're not all impacts, and these aren't impacts at all. Those two aren't impacts. That's a vein and an artery. And that's the artery, and that's the vein. And here's how I can show you why. I'm going to show you a different picture of this. This is the one that's a little more clear. Now, this is as it's shadowed, and, you know, this is the shadow part, and you can see the colors, but you see that little pinch right there? That's a valve. Veins can only go one way, and it goes back this way, going back to where
the pinch that he's showing is actually one of those little upwellings of material in the middle. It has nothing to do with veins or arteries or anything like that. So he still has zero relay. Okay, I'm going to cut it off there. Well, I'm going to explain something. This is a great example of pareidolia, of seeing stuff that's not really there. Our brains are designed to see patterns that aren't there. Like when you look out at up at the clouds and you see like bunny rabbits or spaceships or whatever, that's just pareidolia. You're just seeing a pattern that's there, or seeing the faces in toast or all that kind of stuff. But that's all this is pareidolia. It's not really evidence. There's a lot more to this video, and I'll probably have to do this in sections. But I hope everybody, some people enjoyed this, and have a good day. Bye.